Outboard engines like this Honda obviously need fuel to run. When you mix petrol with water, some problems can occur, so you need to understand how these things can be dealt with and how to prevent them. One of the first things I'd like to talk about is ethanol blended fuels. They're usually a few cents cheaper than most petrols. While these engines can run on ethanol blended fuel, no problems at all, it's probably not a great idea to fill your boat up with ethanol fuels because A, they're hydroscopic, that means they actually attract water, and B, they can cause some problems with some types of fuel tanks and also some types of rubbers in your fuel lines and so on. So I'd probably recommend you stick with your normal unleaded or premium petrols for your outboard. The other thing to think about with fuel is that water in fuel can cause really big problems with your engine. And it's a fact of life that when you're on the water in a boat, you're going to sometimes get some sort of water in your fuel. Now, the way to deal with that is by installing the proper type of fuel filter. And this one here is a great example. It's got a glass bowl down here, so you can see that any water that comes through the filter is deposited into this glass bowl, and then you can drain it off. It's a really good idea to mount your fuel filter in a great spot like this where it's easily accessed. The BOAB guys have done a fantastic job mounting this fuel filter where somewhere you can readily see what's going on, and you should check it every time you go out. If there's any water at the bottom, you can easily see the water. It looks like a sort of little greasy pool there at the bottom, sometimes with muck in it. You simply drain it out into a container and then dispose of it in the proper way. Engines like this have also got a couple of other fuel filters in them. They're called inline fuel filters, and they're basically the last line of protection for your engine. These filters are located in here, so if any water gets from here, goes into your engine, these fuel filters will hopefully get it. They usually change it on an annual basis when you take your engine in for a service. So it's really important to make sure that your fuel filters are changed on an annual basis. You check them regularly, you drain off any excess water, and you get these guys serviced once a year and replaced. One of the ways you can minimise the risk of water in your fuel is by making sure that your fuel tank's full before you store your boat. What happens when your fuel tank is half full or 3/4 full and you put your boat away for a week or two before your next fishing trip is that sometimes moisture-laden air can be drawn in through the breathers, and what happens then is that the moisture in that air turns into water droplets, goes into your fuel and can cause big problems. So if you fill your tank up so that it's right full, that means that there's only a very small amount of air, or possibly no air at all, can get in and deposit any water. So it's a really good practice. Every time you have a day out, put the boat back on the trailer, go past the servo, fill her up, then you can store it, and you know you're going to minimise that risk of water in your fuel.